Here, Arjuna is in the ocean of grief, of identifying with his relatives and realizing that now, here I am in a great battle of arms, just now going to be fought. And these are all my friends and my relatives, my grandfather, my cousin brothers, are all on the opposite side. It's a civil war. So he's in the ocean of grief caused by his illusion of identification with his body and the bodily extensions, his relatives, even though his relatives are on the evil side, to usurp the rightful possession of the kingdom of the world that really belongs to the Pandavas, who are Krishna's devotees, and would make a Krishna conscious or spiritual pure goodness atmosphere where everyone lives in peace and harmony by having Krishna in the center. For example, if you have a pond and you're throwing your pebble in the pond and somebody else is throwing their pebble in the pond, if we throw our pebbles in two different places, then the circles that those pebbles make will overlap each other. And there's quarrel, disagreement, my self-interest as opposed to your self-interest. But if we all throw our pebbles in the same spot, then all those pebbles make a concentric circle that expand and expand all the way to the edges of the pond. So if Krishna is our center, then that's in that way alone is there universal love and peace and harmony. Otherwise, there's always conflicting interests. So Krishna is the center and the source of all existence. He's like the root of the tree. By watering the root of the tree, all the leaves and branches are automatically watered. By feeding the stomach, automatically all the limbs of the body get energy. So here, Krishna's taking Arjuna out of that ocean of grief. How? By sound, by speaking. He's saying, never was there a time that I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings were not this body, nor will any of us cease to be. Arjuna was so disturbed by his conception. So Krishna told him that just as the seasons change, so does happiness and distress in the material world. One should learn how to tolerate them, just as we tolerate seasonal changes without being disturbed. For one who is equal in happiness and distress, for him the supersoul is already reached, and he has attained tranquility. To such a person, honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress are all the same, because it's all like a mirage that's separate from him. Krishna told Arjuna, some look upon the soul as amazing, some hear of him as amazing, and some, most, even after hearing about the soul, he has no conception, no understanding at all. So that soul is realized by the process of kirtan, bhajan, hearing Harikatha, reading transcendental literature. How can we say that reading transcendental literature is sound vibration? Just like Venu Geet, the songs of the gopis glorifying Krishna's flute. They're singing, and that singing is recorded. So what we're doing, we're actually doing kirtan just by reading. Sukadeva Goswami, let's jump back to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And let's look at Sukadeva Goswami. He is, let's see where he is. Can anybody help? Sukadeva Goswami. No? Let's see. Yes, very good, thank you. So, Sukadeva Goswami is originally the parrot of Srimati Radhika. And he would sit on her palm and she would feed him rice cooked down in milk, sweet rice, and pomegranates. And she would tell him, just chant Krishna, Krishna. And so in her same voice, that Sukha parrot would chant Krishna, Krishna, right in the voice of Srimati Radhika. Sometimes when Radha and Krishna were in very beautiful confidential pastimes together, in the secluded kunjas of Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, that Sukha parrot would repeat the conversations of Radha and Krishna to all their other associates. So he's the original glorifier of Radha and Krishna. Then, when Radha and Krishna, this was 5,000 years ago, when they're going back to their abode, they ordered the Sukha parrot, please stay here and transmit our glories all over the world so that everyone can be liberated from the cycle of birth and death, from the cycle of the threefold miseries. Miseries caused by the body, by the mind, by other living entities, by material nature. So after they left, that Sukha parrot wanted to hear more of their glories before transmitting it all over the world. So he was sitting up on a tree where Lord Shiva was reciting the glories of Krishna to his wife Parvati, who happens to be that same Durga, who is the superintendent of this material world, and who keeps the living entities bound in that prison house by wealth, health, profit, adoration, and distinction, but who really wants to, is really Krishna's servant for assisting in the liberation of the souls from this world by giving those threefold miseries. We become attached to wealth, we become attached to health, we become attached to society, friendship, and love. Try to enjoy it, and the more we try to enjoy, the more we're whipped by the material nature. So, Parvati's hearing, Durga's hearing, from her husband, Lord Shiva. And then when you start getting into the second canto and the fifth canto, it's really very technical about creation, time from the atom. So she started falling asleep. And so Sukha, the Sukha parrot, who knows how to imitate everybody's voice, was saying in her voice to Lord Shiva to encourage him to keep going. Very good. Lovely. Go on. And Lord Shiva kept reciting. So then when it came to the 10th canto, all the beautiful pastimes of Krishna, Parvati woke up. And then at the end, she said, I'm sorry, I fell asleep for such a long time. He said, you fell asleep? You were saying, yes, go on, very beautiful. She said, no, I was asleep. So they were looking around, well, who could have been saying that? And then they saw the Sukha parrot sitting on the branch. So Lord Shiva said, no unqualified person is allowed to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he took his trident and chased Sukadeva Goswami, Sukha, to the hermitage of Vyasdev. who just at that moment happened to be uttering the Srimad Bhagavatam to his wife. But his wife was very attentive, with her mouth wide open. So the Sukha parrot flew in her mouth to escape and went into her womb. And then after 11 years, he wanted to come out, but he was afraid that if I go out, oh, I forgot. So then Lord Shiva was running with his trident. Of course, he really wasn't coming to kill him, because Lord Shiva's a pure devotee, Sukha's a pure devotee, but just for pastimes. He was running with his trident. Have you seen a parrot? Why are you looking for the parrot? Because I have to kill him, because he's unqualified. But what happens if somebody hears Srimad Bhagavatam then? Well, a person becomes liberated. Well, if he became liberated, how can you kill him? So Lord Shiva said, yes, that's right. And so he left, and Sukha is there in the womb, and he wanted to come out, but he was afraid that the illusory energy is out there. I may fall into illusion. So Vyasadeva tried to convince him that no, you'll be okay. Krishna will protect you. But he didn't believe it. So Vyasadeva, by his meditation, he called for Krishna from Vrindavan. And Krishna appeared there. Do we have that picture, Vasandi? We may even have that picture. Krishna in the hermitage of Vyasadeva. And his pregnant wife is there. Might as well show it, since this is a show and tell story. Let's see. Yes, very good. So here's Sukha inside the womb of Vyasadeva's wife. And only Krishna could have convinced him that I will protect you from all illusion. Now let's go back to the other one. So what happened was, now he came out, but now he's in the form of a full-blown youth. No clothes or anything. And as soon as he came out, he left. And Vyasadeva, who's in the back there, he's calling out, oh my son, come back. But only the trees echoed in response to the father who was feeling separation. And Sukadeva Goswami now, he's passing by the young ladies who were taking bath in the river. So when Sukadeva Goswami passed, even though he's in the full bloom of youth, very beautiful and naked, they didn't at all pay any attention because they saw him as having transcendental vision. Whereas when his father came, who's old enough to be their grandfather, they hurried up and put on their clothing, as you can see. Then Sukadeva Goswami came to the place where Maharaj Parikshit was sitting and who had been cursed to die within 7 days by the bite of a snake bird. So Sukadeva Goswami came to speak to him the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's where he's going now. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, which we have here on the table in different chapters, like Gopi Geet, Venu Geet, Pinnacle of Devotion, and other transcendental literatures. The transcendental vibration is also chanted by Brahma, the first created being. In the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami says that the absolute truth, Krishna, is the source of creation, maintenance, and dissolution of these worlds. And he first imparted this Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahma. Let's see Brahma, in case somebody doesn't know what he looks like. Here, very good. Yes. Krishna is speaking the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahma, the first created being. And then Brahma, he is the original father of our disciplic succession of self-realized gurus. And Brahma is also the father of creation of this world. So Krishna, in his form of Lord Narayan, who's lying down within each of those universes, he imparted the Vedic wisdom in the heart of Brahma. And then Brahma is offering so many mantras of glorification to Krishna. So the mantras that he's chanting gave him the power to create the universe. That's how powerful sound is. And Lord Shiva, he, as you saw before, Vishnu, Krishna's expansion Vishnu, was lying down in the causal ocean and glancing over Durga, who is the personified material energy. And from his glancing, all the universes came. So you saw some light coming from the forehead of Lord Vishnu. So that light, the dim reflection of the glance of Vishnu, is called Shiva Ling. Lord Shiva, who connects, who unites with Durga, and from there comes all the bodies of the living entities. You also may know that Lord Shiva is called Natabara, the great dancer. And at the time of dissolution of the universe, he does a dance for 36,000 years of floods and 36,000 years of fire. And every place in the universe, except for the topmost planets, like where Lord Brahma lives, all get inundated and all get burnt. Our Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, my Diksha Guru, he writes in his purport of the Srimad Bhagavatam that this has all happened to us many millions of times, but we're so intoxicated by the wine of the material nature that we forgot, and we're still trying to enjoy it. So sound is very, very important. As you know, as you've heard, as we've heard, it's the first sense from which all other senses come. So let's suppose a man is lying down sleeping, and a thief comes to steal from him. He can't see the thief, but if the thief makes the slightest sound, then he immediately wakes up to protect himself. So sound protects us. The sound of the Hare Krishna mantra and these other Vedic mantras protect us from all problems, anxiety, birth, death, everything if we take shelter of that sound. Another analogy is milk. You all know milk. Now, if you could only appreciate milk with one sound, with one sense at a time, let's pretend. If you look at it, what will you see? That it's white. If you touch it, and you can only use one sense, you can touch it, what will you experience? That it's wet. If you taste it, what will you experience? That it's tasty. If you hear, you can only hear milk, then what will you understand? Everything. You just hear milk, right? You don't see milk right now, right? You don't touch milk right now, right? You don't taste milk now, right? You're just hearing milk. What do you understand? Everything. It's white, it's wet. You're remembering its taste. What else is there? What's the other sound? Sound, sight, touch, and smell. You remember how sweet it smells. Everything is there by sound. Similarly, everything about the whole spiritual world, the whole material world, everything is known to you by the transcendental sound Hare Krishna and the other various mantras. But of course, the other mantras are included within the Hare Krishna mantra. So, sound, very important. Because Arjuna is always meditating on Krishna, glorifying Krishna, so intimate with him that he can talk with Krishna. Krishna told Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, now let's jump to Gurudev's. So this is the part of the CD that's in relation to the paintings we did for Srila Prabhupada. And these are the ones we did under Srila Gurudev's direction. So Srila Gurudev has a sequel Bhagavad Gita, which you can see later on the table. And here, let's go to Bhagavad Gita. Here we go. Krishna speaking to Arjuna, the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna tells Arjuna, now I will tell you that knowledge, both phenomenal and noumenal, or spiritual and material, knowing which there's nothing further to be known. Now hear from me, O Partha, that's another name for Arjuna, how by practicing yoga with mind intent on me, with full consciousness on me, one can know me in truth, free from doubt. In the purport there, Srila Prabhupada explains that if you know Krishna, you know everything, because all relative truths come from that absolute truth. Yasmin bhagyantam sarvamevam bhagyantam bhavati. One who knows the absolute truth, all relative truths become known. One who knows the real tree. Okay, can you all picture a tree with fruits, flowers, butterflies, bark, twigs? And then, so now you're seeing all that, all the details of that. Then, imagine the shadow of that tree on the ground. It's very easy to know the details of the shadow of the tree, because it's the shadow of that tree that you know. Similarly, this material world is a shadow reflection of the spiritual world. So by transcendental sound vibration, by the prayers and hymns, mantras which could be sung or said in any tune at any time, automatically all the details of this material world are known. That is, to a pure devotee of Krishna, he knows everything, past, present, and future. He knows everything of God's creation. So Krishna, because Arjuna is fully surrendered to Krishna, he's fully absorbed in him. Krishna himself takes full care of Arjuna. Arjuna has no time to take care of and train his children, because he's always absorbed in Krishna. So what happens? Krishna himself teaches archery to Arjuna's children, to Arjuna's sons. Arjuna has no time to take care of his horses. So Krishna himself takes care of Arjuna's horses and shoes them, and caresses them and massages them and gets them ready to fight. Krishna ordered Lord Shiva, who assists him in creation and destruction, that give Arjuna that chariot by which he'll know no defeat. I'm sorry, give him all of his weapons by which he'll know defeat. And he ordered Agni Dev, the god of fire, to give him his chariot. You see Arjun's chariot there? The flag on the chariot? That's Hanuman, the monkey god. Hanuman is sitting on the chariot's flag, but it's not just a picture of Hanuman sitting on a flag. In the form of his expansion Ram, Krishna ordered Hanuman sit on that chariot flag, and whenever Arjun needs you, help him. One time during the Battle of Kurukshetra, there was a big serpent monster coming from the other side to kill Arjun, and Hanuman immediately destroyed it. Bhishma, who is Arjun's grandfather, but who took the wrong side, at the beginning of the 18-day battle, he shot one arrow at Arjun's chariot, which immediately set Arjun's chariot ablaze and his horses. Well, so you must be saying now, wait a minute. Arjun fought for 18 days and won. Actually, the chariot would have been burnt down to ashes along with the horses, but because Krishna was sitting on his chariot was fine. Then at the end of the 18 days, Krishna said to Arjun, quickly, get off this chariot. Arjun said, why should I quickly get off it? Don't ask any questions, just quickly jump down. So Arjun did that, and then Krishna jumped off it. Then immediately the fire turned to the ashes, which it would have done 18 days before. So by surrendering to this sound vibration and glorifying Krishna, Krishna gives full protection in return. And all powers come to that devotee. Like Brahma, he has the power of creation. Shiva has the power of creation and destruction. So that's the power of these Vedic literatures. Actually, for any of those of you who know Gurudev posed for this painting. So it was totally done under his direction. I can't tell you how many times he posed for the horses until I got it. And he even posed for the teeth of the horses, and the cross-side of the horses, and the front legs of the horses going up. And he posed for Hanuman also on the flag, with the round part of the glove down and the upper part, and the stick part up. And he posed for Krishna and Arjuna as well. I guess this is a good time to jump to the other paintings. Just as Krishna is present in his sound vibration, in his name, and a sincere chanter, Krishna is personally dancing on the tongue. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. All knowledge is at the feet of the devotee who's sincerely chanting Krishna's name and glory. So Gurudev posed for all these other pictures as well. So Krishna is non-different from his name, he's non-different from his glorification, and he's non-different from his form. So all these pictures that are around the room, and that we'll be showing one after another in the slideshow, they are also non-different from Krishna. You can just pick one and show it. Manjari?
I just had a quick question about sound
Sure.
vibration. I experience a little bit of hearing loss, and I was wondering about people that are deaf, and can they be still affected by hearing loss by spiritual sound vibration?
That's a very good question. Because the sound is transcendental, if that person is ready to hear, like even the child in the womb gets spiritual benefit, even the bacteria in the air, they all get spiritual benefit. And even if So you're asking, even if a deaf person, don't they have this thing of vibration where they can do something and hear the transcendental vibration because it's not material. They can also take prasadam. The prasadam also is, which you'll be getting at the end of the program, very delicious foods offered to Krishna. That's also by sound, because the foodstuffs are put on the altar, and then the devotees offer that by sound vibration. All spiritual activities are accompanied by mantras. These are very, very powerful mantras. Man means mind, and tra means deliverance. So these mantras